Good evening. We're broadcasting our grand final from Potomac Curling Club. This is our Capital League. It's our Premier League, and this culminates the whole season of curling. These teams have been playing together since the beginning of the season, and now it comes to the final. Our featured sheet is where we are deciding who is going to win the President's Trophy, and this game is between Team Clawson and Team Shirk. Team Clawson was the first place in points throughout the season, and Shirk was the second place in points throughout the season. They also went through the playoffs, and now it culminates with them playing this final. We also have at the same time on sheet C, we have the decision of the Senate plaque between Power and Ham and Kempenich. And on sheet D, we have the House plaque between Team Hamilton and Team Higgins. And so we're going to welcome everybody to our broadcast, and seems like they already started with the first rock in the house, and now the second one is a light tap to take it out and leave the red rock in for the Clawson team.
All right, good evening, Henrique.
And good evening, Andy.
So as you were saying, this is actually a rematch of the 1-2 page playoff game that they had last week. And it was a win for Clawson in that particular game. So you could say they have the advantage, but so I think for Shirk here, he would be happy to keep it kind of clean and tight early. Just play a couple of ends and be in the game.
Yeah, Team Clawson is a very strong hitting team, and if George Shirk can manage to put some guards up early and hide behind them, he might be able to score a couple of points early on. But it's really hard to play against the Clawsons because they hit so well and they keep the house clean, and they manage to get their scores in.
Here is Eric Clawson throwing lead stones.
Eric is throwing lead stones, and he's also vicing for his team.
So it looks a bit on the heavy side.
Yeah, it was supposed to get to that yellow rock and freeze to it, but it looks like it's going to go through with a little bit more than what was needed. George's call is a hit on the shot rock. Coming with the out turn, he's calling for Jennifer to throw that out turn. Calling a Nick to sweep because it seems like it was curling a little more than he expected, but he's going to get a very good nose hit there. And a good shot for Jennifer. Now it's Eli Clawson's first rock. He's the youngest son in the Clawson clan, the three brothers. He usually does not play bonspiels and competition with his brothers. He plays with a younger team that's about his age.
Yeah, but very talented junior player, as I've seen personally. Lost many games to Eli, so definitely a strong member of this team.
And I'm sure he's going to follow his brother's success path. His brothers were the GNCC champions on the junior side with two players from another club, and they went to nationals where they beat the national champions twice, once in round robin and once in the 1-2 game, and then when it got to the final, they were defeated by the national champion that ended up going to the world championship.
So a nice draw by Eli, but it looks like from what George is calling that yellow is still shot here. So calling for a guard. Quite risky to remove the red rock.
Those rocks look awfully close, but yellow is probably closer there. Looks a little heavy too.
Yeah, sweepers right off this. Could end up tapping these stones around, which I don't think is going to be that favorable to Shirk.
Now he might have that new yellow rock as shot, but of course Clawson is going to try to hit that and roll in front of the other one, or maybe to the opposite side.
Yeah, hit and roll away, and they will lie 2 with one of them frozen. So.
Not much of a roll there, but he got the tap and he's guarding the button.
Yeah, pretty solid position here for Clawson. I think we'll probably see George just hit the open one for now.
Yeah, there's no way to get the double there that would not jam something into the back yellow there.
Yep! 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 Roll it, Brad. Good throw. Yep! Same shot. Whoa.
Here, George there calling for just Jennifer to sweep. If you haven't been following this season, there has been a change in sweeping strategy for a lot of teams at the top of it and also at club level. The idea being that a sweeper can hold the line straighter effectively on their own by sweeping just on one side, while the other sweeper gets to watch, basically. But if they needed to curl the other way, they would get the other sweeper on. So you'll hear the skips calling people's names now for sweeping instead of just yes or no.
Nose is fine. That works. Sit there.
Okay,
Control. Yeah, nose. 10 and a half. What is it?
10 or 10.
Caleb going for the front rock there.
Hard.
Trying to hit that and roll off to the side.
Hard.
Ends up with an unfortunate situation where he hits at too much of an angle, leaves the yellow in, and now it looks like the first shot is yellow, the second is red, then you have a bunch of yellow, red, yellow. So George's going to try to guard his shot rock to try to get to the end of this end with a steal of one.
If we touch 8, great. If not, no worries. Up here. Line more important.
So front end here, perhaps not. They're suggesting taking out the red instead of the guard, because if you don't make the guard perfectly, it's an opportunity for Clawson to lie to.
And with such hard hitting and good on hits as they are, they could get that double and it would be a little bit worse even.
Yeah, I have to say I like this call early on, considering it was a tough game for Shirk last week against Clawson, so I like just keeping it safer at the beginning. Just get rid of the red, which they will do. They'll roll out, but that's okay. Although still, as you said, there is a double possibility, even a triple possibility, and this team Clawson can throw such a hard-hitting stone that it's definitely there for them.
It's a pretty shallow double, triple, but it's there.
So they're discussing whether to play the double or just hit and flop over. I'm not sure which they decided on.
They gotta do it right, because if they go for one and end up with the other, they might lose their shooter.
Sweeper on early.
It looks like they're very they're on the nose there. They're even to the right of nose. And that's Courtney Shaw that was screaming for a sweep on sheet C, which is the next sheet over.
So it looks like, well, red is definitely shot, but looks like yellow is 2. And it's hard to say who's 3 from here. So
George is going for the shot rock anyway with his first rock.
I think he'll be looking to just nose this one, not leave any double opportunities.
And if it curls a lot, he might even get both of them. Perhaps force Clawson into scoring just one. Nick calling for limited sweeping there. He called early on and then he called them off.
Well, a nice throw, but they do group the yellow stones a bit closer together with that roll, which does mean that there's a chance to make this double now, or triple it even is. Sit 2. If you can throw enough weight, it's there, but it's a shot that most of us would not be able to make, but we know that the Clawsons can throw very, very upweight shots.
Hunter coming over to get ready for his throw. Hit it straight on the nose and sticks there. Now one more rock for each team.
Yeah, it just seemed tight out of his hand there, that one, because they were on it immediately. So as long as it's important for George to keep his shooter here, hit and stick, I think. He'd like to probably roll away a little bit if he can, but still doesn't want to leave an opportunity for a 2.
George gets the hit, but the roll gets that rock closer to the other 2, which might give the Clawsons a chance to get the double. They have to really get the red to hit in the front and then hit in the back. And if he doesn't do that, then he's going to have to stick with 1 point.
Yeah, it looks like it's just in a spot to make it awkward. It looks like from the ice he's taking, he's just going for the direct hit here.
Yeah, to content himself with scoring 1 and going to the next end.
Go here. Okay. We take it, it's not the end of the world, I don't think. Yes, it is. Oh, it is. That is the end of the world. Okay.
here's Hunter Clawson with the hammer.
Definitely not a heavy hit.
Line's great. They got room if anything.
And it's definitely an intent is to get the nose hit there and stick, but it's still on the right side of the rock. Yeah, that's a good shot, and red takes the 1.
Yeah, nice controlled throw from Hunter. That'll be 1 red. Hammer goes to Team Shirk. I think both teams will be reasonably happy with how that played out. I think Shirk will be happy to force the 1, get the hammer, keep things tight early.
Meanwhile, an update on sheet C. Power and Ham scored 2 on the first end with hammer. And on sheet D, that is Team Hamilton stole 2 in the first one against Team Higgins. And on Team Higgins, and Higgins is not here today, Laurie Beatty is skipping.
Good. I can throw 9. I think it'll go really straight, but I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, I must have said Higgins. I was just told that I said Higgins. Actually, Ann is a good friend, and her name is Ann Wiggins. In my defense, I can say that I just watched Saving Mr. Banks, so the Higgins name is fresh in my memory.
Nice gentle weight takeout from Eric Clawson there, just like a board weight. What's what I like about this Clawson team, even though they can throw huge hit weight, they don't always. They're very good at throwing a nice control weight. They always throw the appropriate weight for the shot, knowing that they have very strong sweeping, so they can hold the lines very well. So looking for the freeze here, I think, on this one, but might be coming up light. No, they seem like they're happy with the weight.
Took a little bit off it and put themselves in front of the back one.
Yeah, it certainly rolls into a useful position. Not where they necessarily wanted, but awkward to remove, although I think they're going to try anyway.
For Eli's rock, also a lightweight hit. It's hanging out there a little bit, so it's probably going to get the rock on the outside.
Nice throw there.
Yes. Perfectly executed there.
Yeah, a very well controlled effort there. Tempting to blast that, but the nice thing about throwing the board weight is you keep the shooter in as well. So not a inviting house for George Shirk right now.
With the 3 red rocks, starts getting a little scary when every time you put something there, your opponent takes you out and leaves their rocks in.
So it looks like, well, I think he called for a control weight hit there. Not quite sure. We'll see. Eliminate some of the red.
Yeah, to hit that red and then roll in front of the other, one of the other 2, probably the back one. It's a little bit up for a control weight call. Let's see how much of a roll they can get here. They're going to end up rolling to the other side. Maybe he can get the double there.
Wow. Not bad.
Yep.
Plan B there, yeah.
Yep. Sometimes the shot you don't call is the best one because that's what they wanted to accomplish.
Right. Absolutely. I think he'll be very happy with that result.
We know this one.
But still, a chance for Hunter to just split the house here. Looking for a force of his own. No guards in play, so no real possibility to steal. But can definitely force a single. But only on second stone, so a lot of play left before we get there. This one looks very light, though.
Got to get at least a biter there, and it looks like it has enough weight for that.
Well, yeah, nicely carried there by the sweepers. It looked like it was going to pull up as a guard, but
Makes it a little harder for George to get the double because a double across the house like that is going to be really hard. His call is still to hit that and roll in front of the other one, but depending on the angles, he might end up getting the shot rock as a secondary target.
yeah, I do like just the hit and roll over.
Jennifer suggesting that he freeze on the shot rock, but I think George is afraid of a big end against him, so he wants to keep the house as much clear as he can to get his last shot in and score his one.
Yeah, and I think I agree with this call. This stage, it's a difficult freeze, and if you don't make it perfect, you know it's just going to be taken right out of there. So I think I like the slightly more conservative approach George has got right now.
Well, he got the rock on the other side, so the shooter's lost there. And Hunter is asking for Caleb to put the rock back where that one was.
Yeah, we might see a few iterations of this, depending on whether Shirk can make one of those rolls.
Rock starting on the center line and quickly curling off to the right of the thrower. Some heavy sweeping to try to get it to touch the rings. A biter wouldn't be too bad there because then it's a lot harder if you get the nose hit to get it to count, but it's pretty much where the previous one was, and George is going to go for that.
Yep, I think we'll see him try again, make this roll. He just wants to get these stones closer together at this stage. You can roll in front of the red, that's perfect.
Yeah, he wants to get Clawson to start playing the red rocks closer to the yellow rock that he's trying to put in there so that he might have a chance for a double there. That's Nick Detlow's first shot in this end. Getting very low, close to the ice on his slide.
But hanging a little on the wide side again.
Still going to get the biter there.
Yeah, and we have seen on these sheets that these are awkward because the sheets do tend to curl quite a lot outside in. So if you're throwing the outside in turn, if you're not quite out to the room, you can lose the line very quickly. So they're going the other way on this one, inside out.
getting Eric to sweep that one, trying to keep it in, and so it doesn't move out as much.
And he will, well, makes the take out, but, well, the shooter apparently is still in play, although it's not in the rings. It looks like it's on the line from where we are, but obviously it's not. Well,
George calling on the freeze.
Bit surprised at this, to be honest, Enrique. How about you?
About the
call on this shot?
No, I think it's a good call, and Nick had a comment there that if he's a little heavy, then he's just going to push it through. That's their only chance to get a 2 here. The 4-foot is still clear, so he can always draw with his last rock. It's hanging out in the center there, not curling much, and I think it's a little heavy too. That's not a very good outcome here because it was heavy and narrow.
Yeah,
and
that's
now
unfortunate.
Clawson again has a chance to put the second rock in the rings.
Well, I wasn't expecting that result. The reason I was not sure about the call was just thinking that you could just play for the blank at that point, but you're right.
He
They
still
want
had
to
a
go
chance for a 2, yeah.
That was the way to do it. Unfortunately. Now, Clawson, I think, calling for the guard now. Oh, well, actually.
I think he's drawing to the outside there to the blue.
Oh, yes, I think you're right. The ice is compatible with both of those shots, but I think you're right.
It's an in-turn draw to the outside of the rings.
Yeah, so just trying to force the single.
Put more pressure on George to get the weight right. On sheet C, they're having a biter bar measurement to see if that red rock is in the house.
Oh, wow, this one does pull up short of the ring, so a missed opportunity and a let-off for George Shirk there. Now, he may try to draw behind that guard that has been left there. That's certainly a way to get your 2 if you draw around the first time.
Yeah, if that's the handle that he's throwing, that would go behind the guard, also giving him a chance to get the 2 there.
Well, they're definitely playing to win this thing. I like that. Pretty big mistake from Hunter there with that first one. That leaving the guard was probably the worst outcome.
Yeah, he followed Nick's mistake with his own, and so the first mistake was neutralized by the second one. We're back to where we were, with George having at least a chance of scoring 2 here. George trying to come behind that guard. No, actually he's drawing to the freeze here.
Well, yeah, that's also an option.
A little bit heavy. It's going to move the red 2 outside and out of play, leaving 1 yellow. So it's looking a lot like a force or a blank here.
It's a very interesting throw. I'm trying to figure out whether that was the weight was the intended weight there, or whether it was meant to be a freeze, or whether it was just a hack weight takeout all along. It may well have been.
A freeze would have been a better shot, but maybe he went for the safer shot.
Yeah, so an outside chance of a roll here for Hunter, but a long roll, and even you'll be back 12 if you make it. So I don't think, not a lot of risk here for Shirk.
Now they're trying to sweep to keep it from curling too much.
Oh.
A nice hit and remove the yellow rock.
So a choice for George here. He might go for the blank. I expect he will, but
He should go for the blank with the scoring one being the optional B shot.
yeah, I always think with these, just make sure you've got a piece of it, and then you can sweep as hard as you want.
Yeah, the danger when you're going for when you're trying to go for the blank is not really the one that you keep your rock in, but the one that you completely miss the rock that you're trying to hit. Call for early sweeping there. So they're trying to get the rock on the inside and roll. Actually, that rock's going to stay right there in the rings for a score of 1 for yellow, Georgia's team. Meanwhile, an update on sheet C. The second end was blanked, so it's still 2-0 for Team Power and Ham. That's the Shaw team. On sheet D, the house black game, the score now is 4-0 for the red team, which is the Hamilton team. Hard sweeping there by Nick and Jennifer.
That's fine. Leave it on the center one.
What do you like? We peel the guard or we drop? We peel it, you said peel the guard.
A nice throw there from Susan. A little bit light, but
That's a good long guard.
yeah. So I think we're seeing a tick shot call here for Eric Clawson. Don't see too many of these at club level.
Yes, yes, yes. Whoa, whoa. Eli. That's good.
Doesn't look like it's curling as much as he wanted it to curl, so maybe that rock will come back.
So he's trying to go the other way now.
Hard line.
But
Hard line.
and it goes all the way through.
So that rock will come back because of a free guard zone violation.
Control. Got a curl. Whoa, whoa. Yep. Yep. Yep, yes, yes, yes.
Susan's shot, trying to get to the house or to be at least a close guard there. This one has more weight than the previous one. It's going to get to the house and maybe curl right behind that guard, making the guard ever more valuable. A beautiful draw, touching the button there.
I like to come across the nose way. Like, in here.
Hunter calling for Eric to come behind that and either park on that rock or tap it back a little bit.
Lead it, yes, yes, yes. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Hard shot. Hard shot. Whoa, 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 clear.
Just getting past the long guard. this is going to tap the shot stone back to the back 8, back 12, I think. No, all the way out, maybe. Just, I think, hanging on at the back.
Yeah, I think it's still in play, but might not be in the rings. And well placed behind the guard.
So I think George is going to try and do the same thing back in return. So I heard him just call back line to Hack. Quite tight ice for that, but it's better to maybe tick the guard a little bit than flash past everything.
I think Jen's shot is a little more weight than the Clawson's did. So it's supposed to curl less.
Well, they're going to make contact. We'll see whether they can punch the red out. No, but they will get it out in the open. So Clawson going to ignore the yellow, the second shot for now. Drawing around the guard. Lie 2 that way.
And that's a good draw. It's probably about half open there, but that's a good draw. George is trying to draw to it now.
I think I like that call. Difficult to make the takeout, so why not play the freeze and shrink the scoring area. Definitely going to be a tap of some sort.
And just enough so that now yellow is the shot rock.
So yellow is open enough that they might be able to get to the inside of it.
They have to get to the inside of it, otherwise they're going to just push it into the red. Well, they might get the nose hit that also gets it out, but then they stay out there.
Yeah, so I think we'll see this a soft weight, maybe just even a back line. Hack at the most, probably.
Hunter calling for sweeping against the curl.
Both teams holding the line quite well on this side. I think that we'll see it take up more curl as the game goes on, but right now, able to hold the lines very well.
Managed to get it out, but also again leaving the red rock. George is now trying to ignore that and see if Nick can shoot his rock into the button behind those rocks.
Yeah, could also, Jesse's gesturing, make a hit and roll on the one on the right of the rings as we're looking at it.
Maybe even a double there.
Red's sitting 3 right now, so obviously want to do something. Not only remove some red, but also get one of your own. So you won't mind the hit and roll onto the backing. So here's Nick.
Looks a little bit on the outside there.
Yeah, Susan called on there to try and get more curl. Oh.
Beautifully executed shot. And puts the rock almost entirely behind the guard. Yeah, I think it's curling enough that you can get to that rock if you want to.
I agree, and I think this comes back to the very first rock where the center guard was quite long is now coming into play because there's more room. Although, having said that, they're looking at different shots. No. Going back to the open side is the obvious.
But they're thinking about
shot.
the very shallow double there, which would require pretty heavyweight and precise shooting to get the line right to get that. So I think he's going straight for the throw around the back. That was thrown very narrow. Maybe he can get it around the guard, but I think that he's going to end up crashing that guard.
Yeah, the sweepers were called on right away, so it must have been out of the hand, but at least takes the guard off the center line, so everything's open now. So that's the right way to miss those, I think, especially if you have the hammer. You don't want to flash by everything. I've opened things up. So a bit risky to play the takeout on the top red. A couple of jam possibilities. So George is looking at playing a guard in the rings, or maybe being convinced by his team to play the takeout. I think this wasn't his first call, but there's room to get through the gap there. You'd love to flop over a little bit and guard your shot stone as well.
Yeah, or the nose hit that could get him, close to nose hit, could get him a double with the red in the back. Looks like the line's holding there, not coming back much. Might get the back one.
Mike, well, I think they'll miss the jam because they missed it altogether. Oh, they have caught a little bit of it. Just enough, actually, so worked out pretty well. Just like to say good evening to the 22 people who are now watching us tonight. Welcome, thanks for joining us. As you know, this is the championship final of the Capital League this year.
This is our Premier League. It's the highest level of curling in our club. The teams are formed by the players. It's not like a draft system. It's not created by the organizers. It's created by the teams, and a lot of these teams play together in other competition, or they go bot spieling together. This league starts in October when we start the season. It goes through 3 rounds. And there is a system where there are 2 levels. One is called the House, it's the lower level, and the upper level is called the Senate. And the teams can go up or down depending on how many points they score, and the points are scored throughout the whole season, with the top 4 teams going to the final playoffs that gives them the President's Trophy, which is basically the club championship. The teams that are 5 to 8 play for the Senate plaque, and the teams that are 9 through 12 play for the House plaque. And these are the other 2 games that we have at this moment. On sheet C, playing for the Senate plaque, and on sheet D, playing for the House plaque.
Meanwhile, back on our feature sheet, unfortunate error there from Team Clawson, going for the freeze and coming up light, guarding the opponent's shot stone. So a opportunity now for Shirk, who's already lying 2 in the rings, to set up a chance for steal here. That was the last place that
Where's he going,
draw.
to the top 4?
I think so. Top 4, top 8.
As long as it's behind the guard.
Absolutely. It'd be nice to angle him such that you prevent a double run. Well, you know, you can never fully prevent those, but make it hard anyway. Tuck a piece of it. Nice opportunity here. But they have to go hard for line here. And I think they're going to overcurl onto the red guard. Don't really want to wicket, but they could stagger the guards, which is not a bad second prize.
Almost a freeze there. There was just a little bit of a tap, and that shot rock is completely behind the 2 guards now, which forces Clawson to draw into it. With the yellow in the back, it's a lot easier to draw.
Yeah, so still a chance to get 2 for this for Clawson with a good draw here. With that yellow staggering the 2 guards means there's no run back anymore, so that's why for Shirk it wasn't a bad second prize.
No, it's pretty good still, depending on where this rock, Hunter's first rock, goes. Not much of a curl there, but it's slowing down nicely there.
Just needs to get into shot position, which I think he will do. Nicely
And
done.
it's a great freeze there.
Well, I think we'll see a attempted follow that down.
Just stay in front of it, or even tuck behind the guards. That red's a little bit open. There might be a way to hit it on the inside if they can curl around that with maybe a back 8 weight.
Yeah, I think also just drawing down to it is also fine. So I think we'll see it thrown as a draw, and then if the weight's really perfect, maybe do something.
The line call is certainly there for the draw.
Ideally here, they would just go top button probably, rather than actually making the freeze.
Yes, if you can curl behind those guards, that will be a good shot. Looks a little light, and they're both sweeping to try to get it there.
I don't think it'll be too slow here.
No, not much.
Jen, close.
Where?
Jen.
Line looks pretty good if they've got the weight. Just need to get by the guards. Yep, just do it. And that's a nice throw.
Yes, line.
And
Looks
Ooh.
like yellow's shot.
does. Looks like they just got there. Not totally clear from our camera.
Oh my God. Okay.
But
I've had to him, yeah. I'll give you a little more.
see, we'll put that on the overhead. And the camera angle makes it appear yellow, but it's not completely centered over the button, so well, if it is yellow, I don't really see many options for Clawson.
He can draw to the back one and be closer that if he can freeze on the back one, but he's exposing himself to have George freeze right in front of his. Well, this is hammer, so what he has to do is really draw
Just grab the
full
side.
into the red rings
Yeah,
and outcount that yellow rock.
looks like that's the call.
But he's coming with the outturn instead of going where everybody has been playing their draws. He's trying to draw from the outside.
Yeah, tough shot here, but he's still not sure whether it's yellow or red here. I think we favor yellow, as they say in lawn bowling. Favor yellow. Pretty sure nobody listening knows what lawn bowling is, so I'm on my own with that one.
Looks like it's hanging out there even though they're sweeping against the curl. Gotta see if the weight's right. not enough weight
Not
there,
quite.
even though the line was right.
And now we'll see again whether they made their minds up. They might be going for measure.
Looks like they're moving all the other rocks, and they're going to go for the measurement device.
It was a tough shot for Hunter. Nobody had played the draw down that side. So we'll take another look at this. And with all the other rocks gone, still hard to tell. I'm trying to look at the inside ring of the button to try and see if that gives me a different perspective on it. But we'll find out soon enough. And it is yellow. So a very quick measure there.
Brings the game to a steal of 1 for George, and now the game is 2-1 for yellow, which is George Shirk's team. On sheet D for the House Black, the Hamilton team scored 1 more in the third. The score is now 5-0 against the Wiggins team.
All right, so fourth end underway. A nice steal by George in the third with a really great draw on his last.
For Susan's lead first rock. Trying to go for that guard. Looks a little light and looks like it's curling early. Already crossing the line, but they're trying to sweep it just to go over the hog line.
Yeah, and it looks like
Not
this
enough.
one. No. Well.
An update on the score on sheet C on the third end. Gilad Kampanich's team scored 2, so the score on sheet C is 2-2 now. And that game is Power and Ham, Melvin Shaw, Courtney Shaw, Brian Dauernheim, and Katie Kovac playing against Team Kampanich, which is in the throwing order: Magic Jones, Gilad Kampanich, Skip, Bob Williams, vice skip, and Gabriel Kampanich as the fourth thrower.
A nice
The
corner
Clawsons
guard.
go for the corner guard, trying to keep the middle clean so that they can score in the end, and so that they can start hiding stuff behind those guards in the corner, maybe go for the two-pointer. Susan's second shot also curled a bit more than what they needed. It's a guard that's like a 2.5 guard, which is, when we say 2.5, one guard is one that's just past the hog line. The 2 is sort of midway between the hog line and the top of the house, and the 3 guard is the one that's closer to the top of the house.
Although on the plus side, I think putting that guard offset center line means it's harder for Clawson to draw behind their corner that they had put up. I don't know if that was the intention, but it's a nice byproduct where it finished.
Because by the time it gets there, the angle that the rock is coming, the trajectory is such that it would be very hard to miss both and hide behind the red. So he's was trying to hide behind the new yellow guard, but ended up right on the button. So George is calling for a freeze on that.
Little tap's okay. Little tap's okay.
Mine's fine. Plenty of space. Plenty of space. Plenty of space. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Yeah, so just going for the draw. Little tap's okay, you heard him say. And
That's Jennifer Atkinson's first rock in this end.
All the way, boys. All the way. Come on. Come on, right here. Let's go.
Some heavy sweeping by Nick Datlow.
Yes, Nick.
looks a little bit heavy for a freeze, so now they're going more for the angles than for the freeze.
Yeah, but you can go. Well, probably on that note. Feels like straight or rough.
So hit and roll opportunity. Here's Eli Clawson.
You're throwing me? Do you want more ice?
No.
No.
No, I don't think we need it. Just letting you know. Yes. Yes. Whoa. Whoa.
Hunter calls for the early sweeping against the curl and then up. They're just doing a little thrust of sweeping, but it ended up curling a lot at the end.
Yeah, almost lost that. Not sure whether they'll get their yellow out. They just will. Nice shot, but the shooter sort of in between the guards. Definitely accessible.
And George going, at least now, calling a hit on that rock. If he can get the roll behind the yellow guard, then he's going to be in very good shape. Jennifer's second rock is called a hit. Probably control weight.
This
Bumper
one
weight
needs to move
does
a long
not
way.
curl. Took out his own guard and moved the red guard out to near the bumpers or the divider line.
Yeah, not the greatest result because now it's 2 red already with no guards playing. Well, not really. So a good chance for Clawson to set up for a 2 or a 3. And so George is going to have to start making some doubles or hit and rolls.
Or the perfect freeze. But even the perfect freeze with a heavy hitter, you can hit it on the corner and that rock goes out off to the side.
Absolutely, and we know that these guys can make those. This one, though, in danger of sliding deep.
Slightly behind T-line, which is a good target for a freeze, but the way the geometry of these rocks are, George might opt to go for a double hit and hit on the outside and roll maybe closer to the other ones where he can't be easily hit out.
So thinking this one over. This one a little bit on the wide side. Not sure if he's going to catch the red. Yeah, he is, but
A jam there, and at least one of the 3 goes out.
so another free draw essentially for Team Clawson. Just trying to keep these reds spread out so that there's no easy doubles. You might look at this and think, wow, why doesn't he guard one of these by throwing another one, say top 12, but doesn't really want to leave anything for the opposition to hide behind and cut down the scoring area. So
You got it. All the way.
Sweeper's off this one as well. I think it's gesturing that
heavy.
it's heavy, yeah. And this one may not stick around at all.
And George manages to get it through the rings.
Line's good. Line's good.
So, bit of a let off for Team Shirk and a chance to remove another red.
Oh, no. Line's good.
probably try to roll so that you have the other as backing. It's looking like potential for a big score, but now things look like they're under control. Oh, but jams it.
And rolls half out of the rings. It's still, I think it's still second shot there. I think it's a little bit closer than the red that's in the back.
I think you're right. I think you're right, but it is accessible.
And Hunter is confirming that that's one is the red in the front, the yellow is the second, and the other red is the third.
I think if he knows it should be enough to remove it, even though it will jam. It should roll enough to get out of the rings.
Which now leaves them 1, 2, and 3, and that red is not easy to remove without ending up removing the yellow as well.
Well, a pretty uninviting house for George Shirk right now.
Nick is suggesting to freeze on the 2 rocks there. Maybe George can outcount the red if he freezes off on the side there. Now he's just looking for ways to make Clawson score only 1.
Yeah, I think I like that call. Even if you freeze slightly on the corner, there's a chance that you would spring into one of the other reds if they tried to take it out. So it seems like a good spot. Best option they have.
That's a very nice shot. So Hunter has to look for a hit that's going to hit the rock on the outside, across the nose, and hit it on the outside, perhaps even do a double there if he can get the right shot.
That was scary.
Yeah, really nicely positioned. Rock makes it very awkward. They're worried if he catches too much of the red backing, he'll spring over into the other red and jam it. So definitely wants to avoid that.
Looks like Caleb wants the heavy hit there. It's a tricky shot.
Well, looks like they're going to throw some weight at this, judging from their ice.
Throw the out turn there. Maybe they feel that they have more control over the out turn.
So still a chance for a big score in this end. Needs to do something about this yellow. he can keep the shooter, he'll be very happy.
And a nice shot for the double with rolling out the shooter, keeping 3 red rocks in the house.
Yeah, a lovely shot there. Now the freeze is harder. There's less to freeze to than before. But they're going to have another go at it. So this is a key shot. Has to make this one perfect or you're looking at a 4-ender. The good news for him is that he can outcount probably all 3 of the reds by freezing to the back one, because they're all so far in the 12-foot.
And he just threw that shot.
Yeah, so always nice to be able to throw the same thing twice. Should be pretty close. Not on this so far.
I don't think it's that heavy.
They're worried they might be tapping, which they definitely don't want to do. Well, it does look pretty close, but they're just going to bounce off, and the red is still in the rings, I think. So if you play it right, this is for 4.
I think they have to go for this 4.
Absolutely. I mean, it's for 3 pretty easily, and if you get just the right, just avoid the jam, then it's for 4.
Avoid both the jam and avoid rolling out, then you get the 4. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, good opportunity.
Hey, if that was for him, that's the type of
So throwing the other turn on this one.
Calling for more curl here.
This one really needs to curl over, and it's trying.
And he gets it.
Wow, nicely done. Thought he was going to make the jam there, but...
And they agree on a score of 4 for red, which puts Team Clawson well ahead now. Puts them 3 ahead of George Shirk's team.
Yeah, great end there for Clawson. Just didn't give Shirk a lot to do there. Not a lot of chances to cut the scoring area down. Didn't do too much wrong. Made 2 really nice draws to try and freeze, but just an inch away both times. And that's all. That's all you need.
This curl, remember Brian's slow? You went even?
So I think we'll start to see Clawson throwing these rocks straight in the rings now with a 3-point lead. Hunter just coming out to get some exercise there, take over the sweeping.
Bring it back then. Make sure it's like back here.
Now George has to put some good guards there so that he can start hiding rocks behind and start scoring 2s and 3s there.
But the attempted corner guard does not curl over where they wanted and is almost the center guarding the shot stone that was already thrown.
Yeah, I think that he wanted that guard to be a little bit more to the side.
Clawson just going to put another one in the rings.
No, yeah, you draw to it. George Shirk's call for Susan's second rock is to draw to that second red rock in the house.
Yep, we can hit like half a rock.
It looks a little light.
And it also looks like it needs to curl a little more.
Sleeper's working hard. Might get to the top ring. No. And that's, well,
Starts getting trickier and trickier for the yellow team.
yeah, really throwing.
Shirk
Well,
getting himself into trouble.
interesting thing about this is now that even though Clawson has 2 in the rings and a double center guard guarding their stones, they're peeling the guards. And the and that's because even though they're currently in a good position, they just want to keep things really clean with a 3-point lead.
With that lead, you really want your opponent to score 1 so that you can take the hammer back.
And we saw a couple of ends like this in the 1-2 game that they also played, where when once Clawson was up, the same thing was happening with them peeling the guards, even when they were, in theory, helping themselves. And that's, like you say, because they're playing the long game, knowing that forcing a 1 is going to win them the game. They don't need to steal anymore.
Top board. Yeah.
So
Jan Atkinson puts the guard back.
now we might see a double peel, whereas you and I might probably just go around it, but here we're going to see a double peel. Fairly straightforward. Stones are very close together.
Yes. Hard. Really nice.
And both yellow rocks get out.
Another 2-3.
Let's go on top of this.
George is calling for a draw to the shot rock, right?
I think so, yeah, it looks like it frees.
Looks a little narrow.
Doesn't look like a lot of ice, yeah, I agree. I wonder if maybe he's trying to just draw all the way around the guards instead. Ignore that stone, or maybe...
Well, it's not curling much on that line. It looks like Nick's holding it a little bit, and it's going to get right there. It's not even on the nose yet.
Now Nick's on it, and he might just wick off the top red, which he'd like to avoid well.
He's second shot, but we'll see what happens.
Nice try. I think just enough of it available really for Clawson to see it directly, but again, on a slightly different operating mode than I would be, certainly. Going for a run here.
Brian. Yep, Brian.
I would be protecting my shot rock.
Yeah, I think I would be trying to clip that yellow out or something, but they like this, clear everything up. Well, can't blame them for
Leaves
liking
one
it.
red in and everything else goes away.
Yep. And
Except for that guard in front.
Absolutely, and that was a really lovely shot.
Pick if you want. Yeah.
And
Throw hack.
of course, exactly what they intended.
Yeah. Cut hack weight.
But still one guard in play and one stone back forward. So
More ice. That's gonna nose it.
George is patient. He does still have some chances here to score a 2.
We whip the guard over and get a tick. That's fine too.
And slightly less ice than the last one, so I think this is just a draw behind the guard. We'll see.
Gotta move. Yes, yes, yes! Whoa. Yes! Hard, 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 hard. Nice, stay in that spot.
The line was very good, but comes up light.
Guard.
Wants to call for a double on the 2 guards there. They're pretty well lined up to get an easy double.
Yes, yes. Yes, please, 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 please.
And it's going to get just the yellow.
Yeah, it looks
Running
like,
George out of rocks.
Yes, absolutely. It looks like they did change the call there to just make the single peel. And perfectly executed. So, just going to try again with the draw. It was pretty good with the line last time, so you'll just need 5 feet more weight. Should be pretty close with this.
Yeah. If we go nose, I think it's a double. Yeah, but so what? Then we're here and they draw. Yeah.
And if he makes the draw, you might see the run on the guard played.
Yeah, both you guys. Go, go, go. Go, go, go.
And that's a lot of curl and getting behind the guard. And not enough weight to get to the 4-foot circle.
Yeah, pretty good though. Not shot, but second shot and mostly buried, so it's definitely a missable shot now for Hunter.
Which could end up just replacing the red rock if he misses that yellow. Or it could also curl too much and end up taking the guard, which would not be too bad for him.
A bit tighter. Courtney. Line's good. Line's good. Line's good. Line's good.
Whoa. Yes, yes, yes. Go, go, go.
I think this one might be on the guard.
No,
No.
it's just a perfect peel.
Lovely shot. And so I think we'll see one more try from George at the draw.
Go this way.
If you don't hide your rock, he's going to hit it.
Peel this way and try and move that off. Yeah. Normal again? Yeah.
Now what could happen, I don't think we'll see this, but George makes the draw. You could see, I don't think we will, but you could see Hunter call a bluff and throw a guard on the shot stone. But
No.
I doubt they would do something risky like that given the score line.
No, we're missing everything.
more likely to see them play a run back.
What now? Long guard? Got this. Stand close, stand close. But I don't really
George
know
still
how to guard
attempting
this
to
now.
get that either to a freeze point or to get completely behind that guard. It looks like it's curling a lot, and he's going to have some contact with the guard.
Yeah, 1, 2.
Yeah, and even worse, guards the shot stone for Clawson with that little rub. So they will probably just throw another one in now. Top 8, top 4. And choke things off. So I think the tolerance on that shot was probably heavy because at least then you tap the shot stone, but it's easy to say from here in the commentary box. If this is made successfully, we might see George having to play the run back on the one he just threw. So a good chance here to, well, put this game away pretty much.
Looks like he wants to guard that run back.
Yeah, I think he's trying to go past it to the top 8 in such a way where
you can't run it back.
Right. It looks pretty close. Just gets into, well, top 12. It may have done just enough. I don't know. I think you can run it still to the shot stone, but it's...
I think that by now you run the red into red, get the double, and try to roll your yellow out to get the blank.
I like your ambition. But yes, I think you are right. That's
I think it's way too narrow to throw the yellow into the red.
Yeah, I think you're likely to catch the top one and roll out.
The other option is to draw around on the other side and get closer to the button than that red is.
Yeah.
Which is also feasible.
It looks like that's what they're going to do. Yeah, full 4. That's what you need. And this is, well, it's easy to cut them down to 1 point at least. And definitely possible to score. I agree with you with the red double is the other shot. I think the yellow run is really barely there anymore. It is, but it have to be so precise.
So George is calling for the draw around on the left side.
So this one to really stay in the game needs full 4 to pick up his single.
Jen is sweeping that, trying to get it back in so that it will get to the 4-foot by the time it gets there. It looks like it's a little light and just counts them down to 1, putting Team Clawson 4 points ahead.
Yeah, difficult there for Shirk. Not a lot of great options left. And just didn't quite get enough curl there.
Yes! Yes!
So pretty comfortable situation here for Clawson. Good front runners. Gonna just keep throwing these in the rings.
Great shot.
This line. Little bit for line. Line, Caleb, you can. Switch out for overthrown a bit.
I just worry that we do this and leave them both in the house.
Well, we'll throw it
No, I'm talking about if we do that one.
Yeah, let's not throw it like that.
And that's on the top 8, a good rock when you're so far ahead. Stop putting those guards up and start putting rocks in the house.
Absolutely. As this game progresses, we might even see them start to throw them straight through in the 7th and 8th, depending on the scoreline. So we'll see the corner guard here from Shirk. I think we'll see 2 of these put up at the beginning. We'll ignore the stones in the rings for now. Nicely done there for Susan. It's a little bit long, but it's usable.
Calls for a freeze right on top of that rock.
Just going to overcurl.
Now it's tempting for George to go there and get rid of both. Maybe get rid of both and roll.
It's tempting, but I think he's going to ignore them. Scoreline being as it is, yeah. Now, calling for a corner, but he's taken quite a lot of ice for this, so I'm interested to see where this finishes up. I had a couple before in the game that didn't really curl off the center line, so I'm wondering if this might be another one of those.
Got to wait for the curl there. It's just sting.
Yeah, no, so I worry that this is going to end up as a center. Not really
Then
what
you bring it and you make it freeze. But I think it's too late for that.
Yeah, and it seemed like a lot of ice on that call, and maybe also just through to the outside of the broom. So, on the other hand, all guards are good guards at this point for Shirk. So, and anyway, in any case, this one's not going to be hanging around for very long.
No, if they can get it out, they'll get it out. The ideal shot now is a peel, but that broom's pretty close to the rock.
Yes. Yes. Hard. Hard.
Sweeping hard to make it stay there outside and get the peel.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed about this Clawson team in their last week's game is their ability to throw very straight
On the heavy hits.
the heavy hits with very good sweeping to hold the lines, and they take much less ice than most players would take for the same shot. And we'll see a repeat attempt of this guard.
Now with a little less ice.
This line's looking better. Still not curling a lot off the center.
All he needs to do is to make sure that the 2 are still hittable. And he got that.
Yeah. Again, going for the peel. Seems like it's a straight-ish line there. I mean, it seemed like only about 2 feet of curl on that guard.
Yes. Lead it. Just lead. Lead.
And once again,
Perfect peel.
make those seem so routine. Here's Jennifer Atkinson again. So the guard hoping at some point for a nose hit on one of these guards or a miss from the opposition.
At some point, he has to start going for the 2 rocks in there.
Yeah, you're right. I think this might be the last guard he throws. Maybe one more. But then at some point, yeah, absolutely.
Go for half. You might just touch the back of this.
And they're looking at the double peel here because of the angle on these 2 guards. Might be able to make them both go away.
It'd have to be pretty shallow there.
Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, fine.
Top 4.
That's pretty close.
Now the question is there going to be one more guard, or are they going to play in the rings now?
Or at least a draw behind the guard. Yep, hit and roll.
Yeah. I honestly don't mind playing this with pretty soft weights. Like, don't necessarily need to remove the red stones, or at least not both of them. Might actually want to use them.
For backing, for freezes.
Exactly. But looks like he's calling for a control weight. But I think one of the left-hand red will probably stay. Might clip it, but it should stay around. Might be usable.
It's curling a lot.
It's looking pretty close. Just needs to roll
It's
over.
an excellent shot.
Very nice. Does spell both of the reds, though. And you could see Hunter there sweeping his own red out. Didn't want that in to help the opposition. It is still technically in play and can be corner frozen to. Very difficult, obviously. And a little bit of this yellow available. Well, maybe a bit more than it looks from our angle. This one definitely needs to curl over. Eli working hard. And nicely done.
Hitting and rolling back to the center line.
George contemplating freeze, and I'd have to say I don't mind that. Just to mix it up, or just draw. Yeah, that's an interesting.
With that red open there, he can always go for it later. It's curling enough that the light hit can still get the rock out. And if it's close enough, you go for the double.
So it does look like they decided to draw.
I mean, we're not going to be able to...
Got to take a few liberties with a score line like this. So I like this.
But you got to make it. Looks a little bit heavy.
It does.
It's going to be in the back of the house.
Well, this looks like it's not stopping. Well, no.
Through the house.
And so the corner guard is going to be peeled off, wasting no time there. Just eliminate all chances of hiding something.
9.5.
There's absolutely no need to guard your own stone here. Just get rid of the corner guard.
Last year, Team Clawson got the second place in this Capital League, and they lost the final to a team that was skipped by, who was it last year?
I'm afraid I don't recall, actually.
Calvin Weber won last year, and Calvin Weber moved away, and that's why he's not curling here this year.
But in the intervening time, Clawson won the the GNCC
juniors, and got second place in the USA Junior Nationals, beating the champion twice and losing in the final.
That's right, and they actually played in the men's. Well, at least 2 members of this team played in the men's national championships. Did pretty well.
Did pretty well. They got 5th place in the men's nationals.
So they've come quite far in the intervening since last year's final.
It was a fantastic team.
Absolutely.
And they work hard. They come here every Thursday. They practice. They practice during the juniors on Sundays, and they play leagues on Monday, on Wednesday, on Thursday, on different configurations.
So George here playing for the freeze. Pretty much his only option now is to make a perfect freeze here. And then hope that it can't be blasted out.
Just do it, guys. Just do it.
If it's got, and I don't think it has the weight.
I was just sweeping so hard.
So
Actually, a biter's not bad.
ice probably slowing down a bit at this point. We're in the 6th end. Usually starts to slow off a bit towards the second half of the game. So now we'll probably just see another draw in for Clawson just to try and steal another one. Why not? No risk at this point.
Hey, give me another inch, because we can be a little out. They can't go through a whole. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And besides being great curlers, they also volunteer a lot in the club. They're always prepping the ice. They're always helping. They help with the juniors. They do a lot of stuff in the club. Also, George, on the other side, does a lot of volunteering. Everybody on that team also volunteers a lot of their time to help with the club activities.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's really, great. I mean, it's an all-volunteer club we have here for those watching from other places. So everyone pitches in, and that's really great. That's how we keep the place running. And so this draw looking pretty good. And don't.
It's like perfectly behind that guard.
Not a lot of options remaining for Shirk. Just draw the button or potentially make the run double if you feel adventurous.
Well, it's the last rock.
Yeah, so probably just the draw.
Nick is looking at fun shots now.
Yes, I think so. It's certainly tempting because you knows the reds, you probably make them both fly, but
yeah, even coming around that, you're not going to be able to get the 2 out because the first one is just going to stick and stay there. So you really need to go with the run back.
Well, they're thinking about it. They're going to do it. As you say, might as well try the fun shot now. It's a tough draw. So the shot's definitely there. Difficult, of course, but I think it's make or break here. If he doesn't make this, we'll probably see handshakes.
And sheet C, they shook already, and Team Hamilton gets their name on the house plaque. Sheet D, sorry.
So here's George with his attempt. Susan called on immediately. Just needs to curl. Looks close. Looks very close. And he makes contact, but doesn't.
Still red scores 1.
Doesn't move both the reds far enough. Really nice shot, but just not quite enough. And
George is signaling that it's time to shake.
yeah, so that is the game. will be a win for Clawson. They are the champions.
They're club champions.
Club champions.
One winning the President's Trophy.
Congratulations to them. And commiserations to George and his team, who they played well, played a good game, but just against a very strong opponent. Very fun to watch. So congratulations to Clawson for being the new champions. Meanwhile, the Senate Plat game is still going on. So
yeah, and it's a pretty close game.
Try
It's tied at 3 after 6 ends.
So we'll just...
They're now playing the 7th
Switch.
with Power and Ham having the hammer, but with Team Campanage having 2 rocks in the house.
He was way in and then like wasn't way out. So, all right, Magic go now. Magic go now. Just go. Just go. Take it in. Drag it over. Make it happen. Do the magic. We fight. That'd be sweet.
So we're now switching over to sheet C after the conclusion of the game on sheet B.
Now we got a guard, so. I can just have
Plenty of guards there to lead us to think that there'll probably not be a blank here.
Oh, clips the red, but not going to go out.
So what do you do now?
So 2 reds hanging around in the house.
This is Gabe's last rock, so it's the last rock for red. Gilad's calling for a rock up front.
Well, there is a hole there, but the question I'm asking is, what are you guarding if you put it there? So yeah, I kind of like this
Put
instead.
it up front and make them draw to the button there.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go top 8, which I like.
If you can go behind that guard or slightly to the left of the guard. Top 8 is good because if you hit and stick, then you can't score.
Wait on wait. Get line, get line, get line. All the way,
So
guys.
could be facing a difficult shot in the second, although this one is over
Looks like
curling.
it's light too. So it's probably going to get close to the other guard and just stay out there.
Yeah, so okay, but leaves a draw available for Power and Ham. Just need to get well, biting the 8-foot to score. So, but then
Looking
they'll,
at the draw there.
I think so. But then they will relinquish the hammer for the final end. Just a 1-point lead. So
Yeah, but I don't think there's an easy double there to get the blank there.
no, I think you're right. I think they have no choice. We'll see how this is Melvin's shot about to throw. See how he's feeling with the draw weight.
Looks pretty heavy.
Oh goodness, looks like they might be playing a
They're
hit and
going for
roll.
the hit there.
Well, they obviously felt more comfortable with that play, and they managed to get a good result. So
It's 1 yellow.
definitely would have played the draw there, but maybe they just felt they weren't sure of the weight of the ice, the speed of the ice. Play the takeout. Why not? So they will take a 1-point lead.
Going to the 7, leading by 1 without hammer.
So over on another sheet, the winning Team Clawson are taking a group photo of the rather large trophy, I must say, that you get for winning the club championship.
It's the President's Trophy.
It's quite impressive.
Katie's first rock on this 8th end. Her team leading by 1.
Yeah, so it's only a lead of 1, so we'll see a guard here because they really have to steal to win the game.
Line's great. Should have thrown like a 6. Line's super good.
Well,
Very
nicely
good
done.
guard.
Absolutely.
2 guard there. Gilad going for the steal, so he wants a corner guard. Not for the steal, for the
For
more than 1.
For the juice, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, needs the 2. So, very interesting end.
And that's Magic's first rock.
Find a lot if you can.
Gabe sweeping against the curl.
All right, well, bring it in. Go, 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 go.
You know, they're a bit of a, well, not miscommunication, but a lot of communication.
Well, it changed handles in the middle of the way, and so Gilad wanted Gabe to sweep it and bring it into the house, and Gabe thought that that wouldn't be right.
Yeah, it looked like it wouldn't have been able to get there. So, turns out it's quite a good guard in the end. So, despite the handle issues, worked out very well.
Now, both teams are interested in having guards there because that way Gilad can't score a 1 or a 2, but also Power and Ham can get their steal if they have good guards in front.
Yeah, very interesting matchup this is going to be. Both teams with an imperative here. So, but chipping off that guard and spreading them out rather awkwardly, actually, for both teams. I think you might see draw through the center.
Yeah, I think that the draw that he's calling now is a better draw between the gap between the 2 yellows.
Yeah, I like this. I think that's the easiest one to get in the house somewhere useful.
Magic's second rock now.
Yes, yes.
Well, this one curling
Curling
early.
too much.
Seemed to.
Bob's holding it, but I think that Gabe should be sweeping that one to get it off to the side.
I think so. Yeah, that one really seemed to curl quickly.
Yeah, it was good weight.
Maybe just picked up something.
Now for Brian's first rock.
I think this is the only way we can get in.
So already a lot of guards here. So whoever gets in first is going to be quite happy. It's getting quite congested. Somebody might have to start making some peels.
I think that Gilad's next shot is going to be peeling the guards in the center.
Yeah, it definitely needs to make sure he can still score 1 at least.
Yep, line. Yep, line.
Going hard for line here. Looks like they might be getting through it. Just a little rub.
Got
Might
a little
still
bit of a rub and a biter there.
not bad.
So Gilad for his own shot. Agreeing with Bob that they should peel that guard. Gilad's own rock. He's throwing second rocks.
Yep, play the shot, yep.
Just stayed out there, so now they're trying to get the shot rock. And they get it. But their rock is not in the rings.
Yeah, not easy to raise either with all the other guards. And I think, despite it not being in the rings, Power and Ham are going to hit it, I think. Just replace it so that they can use it. With maybe a double raise or something.
If they can get enough movement there, they might be able to get the biter.
I think they might be able to roll on.
Nah, it's coming too close to nose now.
I think just even though they're not in the rings, they're still controlling the front, I think, is their thinking. So and now I think we'll see some sort of peel because not really any way in there.
And Bob Williams now looking at some options for a double that would use those two yellow rocks, and the red would roll a little bit off to the side and keep the middle clean.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's
He's calling that for Gilad's second rock.
That's a great idea. So here's Gilad. Controlled down was the call. It's probably a little less than they intended. Well, pretty good, but it looks like the yellow will hang around in the rings. At the back, though, so not too worried about that. Opens things up pretty well. Nice shot.
And Melvin looking at options that he has there, maybe to put the guard or a rock in the rings in front of that yellow, or he's looking more outside the rings just to protect that. I don't know. That's a bit too far back to start guarding it and thinking that it's going to do something. I would put another one behind the guards where he's putting his broom right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, Enrique. I think that's playing to steal with that rock in the back 12. That's very ambitious, I think. It's a great chance to throw one top 8 buried.
And then force Gilad to call his shots by peeling guards to get to something, and then he can keep putting the guards back.
Absolutely. And that looks like that is what they're going to do.
So that's Courtney's first rock.
Here is Courtney's shot, preparing to throw. Sweeper's calling straight away, so
it's light and it's curling a lot.
And
he's probably going to hit that guard.
Yeah, it's going to rub off somewhere. Maybe they'll be able to guard their shot stone.
Yeah,
no.
It's in good position to protect that.
So sort of a plan B, but it looks like they can still get through, judging from the. Oh no! Actually, looking at the double here, very long.
Very long double. Gilad's calling for Bob's first.
But I suppose you can play it in such a way that you can at least make the peel if you don't make the double.
Yeah, if it curls, you go for the peel, either side.
So I don't mind it from that point of view.
And Bob's suggesting a draw there. Gilad wants to get rid of it. Well, that's a very easy to promote rock.
Yeah, I don't mind this call. If you make the straight peel, you'll probably see Power and Ham go around with the draw again.
Broom very close to the rock that he wants to hit.
I expect
now he moved it off a little bit.
Still see a lot of weight probably.
So I guess the shot is still the run back.
I think so.
The run back double.
Well, not touching it.
It's not moving, so it's a peel now.
Yeah, lots of good weight thrown there, and that's fine. Nice peel.
Well, yeah, my weight, I think my weight was good. I just put the hair tight.
So, bit of discussion here between Courtney and Melvin. I think, honestly, I don't see the problem with going top 8 now. It seems like a no-brainer to me, but they're worried about something. I think they're just worried about the line. I guess they just don't like the line on that.
So
draw.
where are they going? They're going top 8?
I think so. Guarding.
Bob's
guarding
just
the
skating
other.
on sheet B, waiting for his turn.
I think from what I could pick up from their discussion, they just didn't like the line on that draw. Didn't think they could really get there, so opting for something else.
Guard?
A tight guard, or maybe even in the top ring.
Biter.
This one looks quite light, though. Definitely going to be a guard, I think.
Yeah, it's if it goes over the
Oh my
hog
goodness,
line.
that one
Just over the hog line.
And it's awkward, but very long. And so they could even just draw around it.
Yep, but I don't know if the draw is really there. You need to hit it. You need to go with like bumper weight or hack weight.
Yeah, that's what they're looking at. Well, what they're looking at, maybe they are looking at just a heavy draw down to it. Yeah, looks like
Giving
something will
about
drop.
between 3 and 4 feet of curl there if they want to get to that rock. Bob Williams second and last rock in this end. It's light. Glad waiting for the rock to clear the guard was a little light, so now they're sweeping it in, and it's not going to get exactly where they wanted, but because it was thrown light.
But it is second shot, which is, they're looking for 2 here, so it's a useful stone. And the shot yellow rock, I think, is still accessible.
From the other side.
I think so. The yellow guard is so long. I think there is room to get to the yellow. And you could hear Melvin there saying he doesn't want to attempt to take on the red because of the jam possibility. So they're looking at a draw here.
Which way do you want to draw here? I think that these draws are pretty narrow. By the time you get there, you might be just tapping that red.
Yeah, it's
or maybe
tough.
just draw all the way on the outside here on our left. The throw is right.
Yeah, I think you definitely could do that, but it's obviously a difficult line. Probably haven't been that many rocks thrown out there. So knowing the weight is very difficult. So they're a little bit unsure of this one. I think Melvin is convinced he can make the draw. I think Courtney is less convinced of it, if I can use that expression. But
well, Bob's rock didn't curl much. He was hoping to get about a little over 3 feet of curl, and he got about a little over 2 feet. So if that side's curling the same, he might be able to get it between the red guards, between the red guard and the red biter.
Yeah.
To get it behind the red rock and on the center line.
Well, we'll see. I think I think it's possible, but it may be quite tight. But yeah, Melvin seems pretty confident in it, so we'll see. Certainly doesn't feel like making a play on the red.
Courtney calling for immediate sweeping there.
And called sweep really early and clips
Just
the
peeled
guard.
the guard there.
So that one, well, it was never really there, I think. It never really had a chance. I mean,
now I think you tap it back.
tap the red back? maybe, yeah. With the guard shifted over. That's possible. Going for the hit here. Hit and lie too, which I think is a good call. The 2 is what they need to win the game. Hit and lie 2 and force a good shot out of the opposition.
No, Gilad's calling for a straight hit on the back rock, which is a better shot.
Yeah, as long as he hangs around, this is the best.
And Gabe's a good hitter.
Sweeper's on it hard.
It's curling a lot.
And did they overdo it? A lot of weight throw. Nice
That's
throw.
a good shot.
Doesn't need the roll. There was a bit of Oz from the crowd here, but I think he's okay. He's lying 2.
Melvin can throw exactly the same.
Yeah.
With a little bit of a roll, he can hide behind.
Has to get that roll though. Otherwise, could be curtains. So, and I don't think they really have another option now. They didn't like. They tried to draw on the first one, weren't really that close. So I don't think we'll see them try it again. Again, tight ice here. And not sure which way they're going to roll, probably to the inside. But either way would be okay, as long as you get under cover. So, must remove the stone though. In fact, it may even be better to try hard for the roll, and even if you roll out, you know that the draws haven't been that easy. Not a lot of good draw paths. Well, we'll see.
Gabe could just draw with his last rock. All he would need is a bite or...
Yeah, it's true, which is quite...
That's a lightweight. That's a lightweight hit. Gotta wait for it.
Oh, no, it's close if they're on and off. Oh, have they got the roll? Just needs to sit down, which it will. Nice throw there from Melvin.
Which means that
and it is shot.
We might end up with an extra end here if Gilad goes for the draw.
Trouble is, not a lot of obvious draw ports here, right? I mean, the left-hand side of the sheet.
It would be a promote on that rock.
Yeah,
up front.
I think so. It's probably the easiest shot that they have. Are they looking at the split there? Well, I'd be very ambitious.
The split is very ambitious. The straight run back a little bit, just about T-line weight, maybe back 4 is a good shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's calling for a back 4 weight.
I think I like that. I think.
And trying to run that red into the yellow is way too risky because your rock would not be in the house. It would be too close to nose to be in the house.
Yeah. So I think this is a sensible. Take your 1 and try and steal in the extra end. So here's Gabe. This last throw thinks it's heavy. And
it
really
is a little heavy.
Curl. Needs to curl. Is he going straight through everything?
Yes, he is.
Oh, is
way
it gonna
too
stop?
heavy.
Oh, wow. And so it will be a steal in the 8th.
1 yellow, and Power and Ham get the Senate plaque.
In a really nice game, and a close one. And so that is the end of our coverage. Just a reminder that Team Clawson won the main event, the club championship. They are this year's champions. And we just saw Power and Ham winning the Senate plaque. That's all we have tonight. Thank you, Henrique, so much.
And thank you, Andy.
And we will see you next season, I guess.
Or maybe tomorrow if we have volunteers to run this.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
To broadcast our Thursday night Open League.
Someone please volunteer. If you're listening now, volunteer.
I'm unable to volunteer because I'm going to be playing tomorrow.
That's a good reason. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you very much.